Hey everybody, welcome back to Game of Tones, episode 10. So I want to talk about something a little bit more on the taboo side this time. Should you use samples, or are using samples seen as taboo or uncreative or uninspiring? A lot of people have mixed opinions on this, so here's where I stand personally. I love samples. I use them mainly for breakdowns of my songs, but there are also ways you can use them. I would say maybe even you can build 60 to 70% or even 80 or 90% of a song with samples being used in the correct way. I think of it as a tool. If someone offered you a PC or a Mac, you're probably just going to pick the one that you feel most comfortable with. I don't really feel like they should be as ostracized as they are. Truthfully, I think they work, and so if they work, I'm going to use it, and if they sound good, I'm totally going to use it. The only thing I would really say here is that if you're going to go that route and use samples, try and find ways to add a little bit of uniqueness, a little bit of your own personal touch, so that way it's not going to be a complete one-for-one clone. So let's just go in here, right? We're going to start this off. We got the Cure the Dawn sample pack, volume 1, and I'm going to go into drum loops. Pretty dope. Really low key. I like this. But you know what? Before I even get in here, let's go into the melodic loops. Because without the melodic loops, we don't really have much. So what is actually pretty cool about this is, you see how they have these little the BPM numbers here. You want to actually match that. What it does, it allows it to stay on tempo number 1, and it also snaps directly to the grid for that seamless transition. So we can actually try that out here. So we'll put one of them in, and then we'll put that second one there. Lower the volume a little bit. And so this one is 60 BPM, 60 BPM. If anything, it should be seamless. Let's go to song. Jazzy. Kind of like this. So right here. Yeah. So that feels really good. So, but the thing is, let me see what's going on here. Oh, that feels good. That's 70 BPM. What I can do, what about this one? Oh, that feels really cool. Really lo-fi, like kind of study music. 79 BPM. Okay, I'll take that one. Let's just take that one and see what's going on. So we'll just crank it up. 79, almost. And we'll drag number 1 in. And we'll drag number 2 in. And it should snap cleanly. Yes, it does. And I will save, because I always forget to save. And I'll call it Sample City. So I'll take these lovely guys and just copy and paste them over. So now we've got like a nice melody that's just kind of grounding everything, right? Gonna lower that volume a little bit, just a tad. Same on this. And it should be seamless. Nice. Yep. So now you've got your sample melody here, right? So this is the part where it's like a little bit 50-50. People are like, well, you didn't create that. Is it really cool? Is it really unique? Is it really that? I get that. So you probably want to like try and start adding certain things or finding different aspects where you can kind of trick the ears a little bit to make it a little bit funkier. But the cool thing about this sample pack is you kind of have like building blocks. So this is at 79 BPM, right? If I were to go into the drum loops and look for other drum loops that were at 79 BPM, it probably could sync right in seamlessly as well. So let's see. Try snare loops. Oh, I see. So they have drum loops that are full. I should probably be using this more often. So let's just like put one in and see what happens. Oh, nice. So it does snap right in. It may be a little bit offbeat. We can probably try and experiment with that and find out. Let's just test it out. I'm gonna lower it down a little bit. Really low key, right? Also feel like you could also implement your own drums here. You don't have to necessarily use the ones that they give you. I'm kind of doing a speed run here, but the fact is that these little markers, these indicators, these time signature indicators, the tempo indicators, they let you know what you can and cannot put in. So as long as there's something that has 79 and we stay in 79, generally speaking, it's all gonna snap. And I think the cool thing about the snapping situation, right, is you don't have to think too much. And once you start building everything out and fleshing it out, you can start stripping things down and adding in your own personal touch, which could be a little bit cool. So let's just lower the volume down. These can tend to be a little bit loud. Usually, we don't want to do that. They have bass loops here too. Anything in 79? Of course they do. There's a couple in 79. So let's just take a look. I wonder if that would work. So I don't know, but let's just try. Let's see if it works. If it does, it does. And if not, you can always go back and try it out. Something new. Let's say, this looks like it's going to be a little weird one though. So it's not bad, but it does feel like it doesn't need to be the first one. What about this one here? I'm going to lower that down a little bit as well. Feels funky, but I like it, right? Because it's kind of that steady music. So look at that. You've got something that already has some kind of shape and you haven't necessarily even made a note yet. All you've been doing right now is just puzzle piecing. This is really like that kind of thing where it's like a couple of, some elitists are really opposed to this. I don't really feel like you should be, but I do think one thing. As of right now, as the track is, there isn't too much that's like, that makes it stand out from something that someone else couldn't do on their own, right? Just by basically putting and dragging and dropping. I personally do like to put in my own drum patterns or my own bass lines. Sometimes it's a little bit trickier, but what I don't want to do is mess with the melody. I think that's really cool. But let me go here and take a look through some of these. As a matter of fact, I haven't looked through much. As a matter of fact, there's some one-shots here. I don't think I want any of those. And some percussion. So you know what I'll do? Instead of actually digging into this too much, I'm going to close that down. I'm going to see if I can start slowly influencing my own opinions in this piece. And that's going to happen right now. So we're going to go ahead and say, for example, the drum pattern, right? It's not bad, but I didn't really like it too much. So we're going to take it and just move it aside. So now you don't exist. So this is the kind of part where you can feel a little bit lighter, right? There's not too much pressure here. No one's watching. In terms of like, they don't really know how you're constructing your song yet, so it's not done. You can have a little fun here. So what I'll do is I'll just say drums, right? This is where I'll like input my own influence. So now I can auto name it. Oops. Go to drums. Let's make it green. And then now I'm gonna just really make it a basic pattern to try and see if I can snap to this 79 tempo here. So I'll just start with some close hi-hats, right? That's the first step. Like, is it gonna be on beat? It should be fine. And then we'll get an idea, right? Tap, tap, tap. So the bass lines are kind of funky, so this might be a little tricky. So for kicks, I've got a lot going on here. Let's see if that can work, right? And for snares, I think I actually have something pretty decent for them too. I like it. Let's do that right about here. So let's just say you have a kick snare pattern here. What's that sounding like? Okay. It kind of feels like the snare's a little bit electronic, but I don't think I want that. Let me see if I have something a little bit more urban. A little bit, yeah. Yeah, something a little bit dirtier, not as clean, not as round. It's a little bit low though, a little on the low side. Anything louder? Not too loud. Let's see if I can do it. Maybe a little bit of reverb on that might work. Let's try it. Just having some fun with this at this point. So the beat is kind of, I don't know, it doesn't feel complete. I mean, I know it's still early stage, but it's not making me vibe 100% yet. I don't know why. So, you know what? It's a placeholder. It doesn't feel that nice, juicy like texture that I need. But what I can do is let that sit for a little bit. Why I want to let that sit for a little bit is because I don't want to focus too much on the drums. But we can just go ahead and just take these guys out because we don't want to keep those. You're trying to get your own touch in here. That's the fun part. Like, how do I get my own touch? And so you do it by slowly weeding away some of these. I think even the bass line can stay. The perk loops can stay as well. They're not that big of a deal. But I think what would be pretty cool, I don't know, this is in a B minor. Maybe even some chords here, right? But I don't know. Let's experiment and find out. I think if I want to put my own little bit of a stamp on it, what I can try and do is let's just say I'll move this down for a little bit. We're gonna add an EP here. Keep that green color going on here. Can auto name that. And make it a little piano. This is a little tricky part here. I'm going to Zebra. One of my pianoids. I think this one might have to be a little bit louder to cut through the sample volume. Let's go to my favorite. Yeah. really good in B minor though. So I think what I'm going to do is just let it play for a little bit and see if I can try and catch something, like just try and catch a sound or a range that I should be in, to just add a little bit of keys on top of this, right, that don't come from just the samples themselves. So it's kind of cool, right? I feel like it's like a jazzy feel. I'm not the best in this key. What I am going to do is just hit that record button. And I'm going to try and get something down. It may or may not work. I think this doesn't have to be perfect. Like, I think just in general, the way that this is vibing, it doesn't feel like it has to be super strict. So you can have a little bit of freedom. Notes can come in at a little bit of a off-centered time. I think it adds to this sense of just laid back, chill out, and just study, right? So let's add a little bit of keys here. This is going to be a little tricky. I'm not the best in this key, but I think it still adds a little bit more character than just keeping the samples that we had. So let's go ahead and hit that record and 2. And that's about it. I think I can keep that. For some reason, it felt like it flowed to me. If I go back in here, oh man, these velocities are all over the place. But I think it worked. Come down a little bit, but yeah, I don't think those were too sharp, and I don't think it cut through that hard. And I think that it came at a point where it wasn't completely strict to the grid, just kind of free flowing, which I like. Let me take a quick little listen over that. That feels really good, right? And that's only about 48 seconds. Now we're getting to the point where like we can basically loop this at some point, but you know, it's tricky. I think my drum patterns are a little bit weak. I think it's a little bit too sharp too. Let's turn this volume down. But yeah, you're kind of getting the idea, right? Like I think that the sample idea is not the worst when you kind of put in little bits and pieces of yourself in here. As a matter of fact, a little fun thing you can do as well. This is actually not that big of a deal, but how everything here is kind of starting off, like it just kind of hits the ground running. What you can do is make some space. So let's copy everything here. I'm saying make some space, like make a little bit of a build up. It doesn't have to just kind of all come in all at once. So one thing that's pretty fun, if you go into the master, Master track here. Let's add a filter. I love the Fruity Love filter. And basically we can try and find like a little, you know, like radio-y effect or like a high pass effect, low pass effect to kind of make it like segue in at a nicer, but what do you want it to start, right? That's the cool part. I like this radio old-timey feel. Like it's just kind of messed up. What about high pass? No? Where is that? I think the low pass is a little bit better, a little bit cooler. Oh man, so many options. So let's say we kept it here. For starters, immediately you want to go over here and hit that automation clip. And basically you want to just have it fade out, like fade back into its normal sounding volume. And that's the question. Where does it start? I think it should kind of come back around here, and then we can throw everything in all at once when it's ready to come back to its original volume. And then we can keep this value to 0 for the rest of this, unless you want to bring it back, which is totally fine too. So let's see what we've got. So it starts off hard in that filter, slowly coming back in. That's a nice little warm up, right? This is conditioning to the beat, conditioning the listener to that melody. And now it's like, it's ready here. I'm feeling this. So now you have basically a track, right? This track can be extended. It can be copied and pasted over to have that 2-minute, you know, that sweet spot. But truthfully, I didn't expect this to go so well. I think I'm actually going to tune into this and work on it a little bit more, and then maybe polish it up and put it out on my SoundCloud or something. But hopefully you guys understand where I'm getting with this. Like, samples are not this kind of taboo thing. It's just a matter of, you don't want to just clone and just throw them in. Try and find different ways that you can implement your own personal touch to kind of make it interesting. And then the sky's the limit, right? Well, I think I might end this video here and see what else you guys come up with. I really like these topics, by the way, so throw them in the comments, please. I'm a big fan of this stuff. A lot of you guys are DMing me. Just put it in the comments. All right, ciao guys. Till next time. Stay safe and cheers.